7 tonight. quick reminder, we've hit the 5:50 mark. That means competition pool is now closed for warm-ups. The warm period has concluded, so if you could, please complete the length that you're on. And then go ahead and exit the competition pool. Coaches, we are that much closer now to your scratch deadline. Your scratch deadline is the top of the hour at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. is your scratch deadline. Again, coaches, for time trial requests. Your time trial requests must be turned in prior to event number 27, the women's 400 medley relay. Again, time trial requests for tonight's session need to be turned in prior to event number 27. That's the women's 400 medley relay. Again, a reminder for our coaches, we have a little bit more than 5 minutes before the scratch box closes for our Saturday morning prelim session. Scratches for Saturday morning prelim session, coaches are due at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. Scratches are due. Also, for time trial entries, those are due to the meet management table by the beginning of event number 27. Event 27 is the cutoff time for time trial requests for tonight. And a quick reminder for our athletes to recognize our top 3 athletes at the conclusion of each event. So if you look up at that board and there's a 1, a 2, or a 3 next to your name, please make your way over as quickly as possible. The awards staging area.
We continue to ride the wave of excitement into day 2 of the American Swimming and Diving Championships. Serena Brown for the Houston Cougars, sophomore, the fastest in the field for the women's 500-yard freestyle. For the men in the 500 free, it would be SMU's Jonathan Gomez, the first ultimately to touch the wall in our early showings for our distance races. In our second women's matchup of the day, the 200-yard IM would showcase the junior Cougar and Elena Custavelli. A brilliant performance as she would help the Cougars continue to add points to their overall standings for this four-day affair in Dallas. For the men's 200-yard IM, it would prove to be a freshman Bearcat, Dominic Poling, putting on a show, the first man to the wall. And of course, the Bearcats would continue their top performance from a day earlier. From the end, the women's 50 free, fastest woman in the pool was Catherine Gobb. Nicholas Batsky, the fastest man in the pool for the 50 free. For the women's 1 meter diving, we would see a shining performance from Claire Sherman. And of course, the ECU women and men would ultimately claim top honors in the 200-yard freestyle relay. So we take a look at where it all adds up. The Cougars, last year's overall champions through 2 days, 299 points ahead of the women from Cincinnati. And across the way, over in the men's side of things here this week in Dallas, the Cincinnati men are right where they want to be, with the 3-time defending champ Pirates nipping at their heels. And on that note, we welcome you inside, poolside here in the Nat Lincoln Rose, along with former Arkansas diver Kristen Keith. And Kristen, halfway through already, but still a lot of events to make your way back into that championship hunt for some of these programs.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be more of a challenge on the men's side that we're going to see. As far as the women's side, the Cougars have really run away with it already. I know we have 2 full days left, but the Cougars right now, they're 42 points ahead of the Bearcats, but they've got 27 finals entries today, so they're going to continue to score a ton of points today. On the men's side, Cincinnati leads the field by 37 or more points. They've got 17 opportunities in finals today. ECU is in second. They've got 15 points to score. Look for them to come up big in the 100 back and in the 100 breast, where they have Gustav Santos, who was a 2016 Rio semifinalist. And on that note, we'll also see 2 Rio semifinalists early on in the 400 IM, both of those people from SMU on the men's and women's side. So it should be an exciting day, Lincoln.
Always some of the top collegiate swimmers in the country on display when all the American programs get together. Let's take a look at our slate here on day number 3. You mentioned it. There will be time that the women for the Cougars will have as many as half the field in the 8 lanes. We'll start with the women's and men's 400 IM, followed by the 100 fly, 200 freestyle followed up for the women and men, and then moving on to the 100 breast for both the women and men. 100 back, then we'll have just one diving event later on this evening. It'll be the men on the 3-meter board. We saw them back on Wednesday on the 1 meter, and we'll wrap it up once again with the excitement of the relay. It'll be the 400 medley for both the women and men here in Dallas. When we come back, day number 3 gets underway in the pool. You're watching live coverage of the 2018 American Swimming and Diving Championships on ADN.
Oh, that ball is hit deep, left field, way back. That ball is gone. Double play ball potentially Schreitenthal's over to first. In time, double play, and that ends the game.
Third straight day, we welcome you inside the Robson Lindley Aquatic Center and Barb McMillian Natatorium again in its first year of existence here, just adjacent to the SMU campus. We take a look at our first race. This will be our consolation race for the women's 400-yard IM. You saw a couple of UConn Huskies, a pair of sophomores in Katie Bro and Holly Parker for Tulane, a sophomore as well, and Jordan Morling. Maria Jimenez-Pion, a sophomore for Houston, will be in lane 4. Lane 5 has Samantha Wheatley, a senior from Cincinnati, Victoria Goulet, a sophomore from ECU. In the last 2 lanes, a pair of juniors from Cincinnati. You have Picati Sopapong, as well as for Tulane, you have Emily Ramier in lane 8. Again, prelims take place earlier in the day. We've been streaming those each of these first 3 days live here on ADN. For the individuals who did not make the top 8 cut, the next 8 do have a chance to race again, and that's what they're doing right here in our consolation, also known as our B final. This will not be considered, regardless of time, for a spot on the podium. But for many of these swimmers, still a chance to improve their PRs, try to put up a competitive time, and for some, get a better taste in their mouth before a race later on this week. And butterfly for 100 yards, followed by backstroke for 100 yards, breaststroke for 100, and then, of course, freestyle to close it out for the final 100. See lane 5 right now. Leading the way here in this consolation, it's Samantha Wheatley, the senior for Cincinnati, the only senior in this race here in our consolation. We'll see 3 seniors in the finals tonight after this race, as we are 3/4 of the way through butterfly. They will flip over to the back for the next 100 yards. When we do transition into our final after this, it is a race that SMU has dominated for the last 3 years. And Mateus Samardzic, your defending champion, will be back in the pool for the Mustangs. As the first of 2 laps of backstroke now complete for all 8 swimmers. For Tulane, Jordan Morling, one of your front runners. A strong showing here with the backstroke. As right now it's Tulane in lane 3, and over in lane 5, Samantha Wheatley still with a strong performance here in the pool to get us started on day 3. A great look. It's amazing how long a camera operator can hold his breath down there. Let's see if Morling, the sophomore, can continue to grow her advantage here with the breaststroke. 25 down, 75 to go. More lap of breaststroke before we switch over to the sprint of 100 yards of freestyle. Again, you are looking at the Tulane sophomore, Jordan Morling. Samantha Wheatley's been pushing her a couple lanes over, but you see now gaining ground and perhaps now surpassing Morling is Houston's Maria Jimenez-Peon. And so you have the Cougar right next to that green wave. And in a moment, it'll be freestyle for the win. We will see 4 Houston Cougars in our championship final. And a great turn on this initial lap of freestyle for the sophomore Morling. Lanes 3 through 5 in the driver's seat right now. Morling, Jimenez-Peon, as well as Wheatley. After this touch on the wall, a turn and a speed to the finish. Wheatley had the first turn. Wheatley with the advantage here in our consolation for the women's 400-yard IM. And it's Wheatley the first to touch, the lone senior in the pool, able to outduel Morling and Jimenez-Peon. So for Wheatley, a nice way to get her evening started, try to motivate some of her Bearcats teammates. We will not see anybody for Cincinnati in the final coming up here in the 400 IM. Just a solid race from start to finish. Again, thrilled to have you with us for a third straight day here on the American Digital Network. We are live from Dallas, Texas. This brand new venue, and it has had a lot of student athletes and coaches admiration with the staff and everybody who's helped make this week possible. As you take a look at a lot of our student athletes just warming up near the diving well. We'll just put the diving board to use once tonight over on the 3 meters for the men.
You know, Lincoln, I'm looking forward to this next race, the final for the women's 400 IM. We've got an athlete, Matea Samardzic from SMU racing. She is the leader of the group. She actually qualified in Rio. She was a semifinalist. She took 13th in the event, so she'll be the exciting one to watch in lane 4.
Here they come. As Kristen just mentioned, Matea Samardzic is your defending champ. SMU swimmers have won this each of the last 3 years, including Christy McLaughlin's back-to-back showing in 2015 and 2016. But you are going to see half the pool wearing that cap with the UH. 4 Houston Cougars in this final. And already some familiar names. Go ahead and take you through. There you see for UConn, the Canadian Emma Smith, last year's champion, the 500 and 1650 free. Morgan Ross for Houston, the freshman. Olivia Johnson, the sophomore from Tulane. And then your defending champ in lane 4, Matea Samardzic, the senior Mustang. She'll be next to the junior Cougar, Elena Custavelli, who picked up a win yesterday, one of 4 Cougars in this race. Juliet LaJoy in lane 6, the senior for ECU. Reese Lamp and Rebecca Brandt will close things out for the Cougars in lane 7 and lane 8, the Las Vegas and Dallas, Texas natives. But the Texas schools occupy the middle 2 lanes. Samardzic, the Croatian. Custavelli from Athens, Greece. And we may have a swim cap issue right now. The reason why nobody occupying lane 5. Luckily for Elena Custavelli, one of your favorites, the Houston bench is right next to the starting blocks.
There she goes. Eliana's got her cap on. She'll be the one in the colorful uniform headed back to lane 5.
You just talk about any kind of nerves you already had.
Right? That makes you even more nervous. But sometimes it helps. You know, at least she's moving. To me, it might be worth standing there waiting.
At least it didn't
the anticipation.
At least it didn't happen between the butterfly and the backstroke. Women's 400-yard IM. And as we saw just a moment ago, again, it'll be 2 laps of each stroke. Butterfly, backstroke, breaststroke, freestyle. Quick start right now in lane 6 for Juliet LaJoy, the senior for ECU. No surprises really in these middle 4 lanes. LaJoy, Custavelli, Samardzic, and Olivia Johnson for Tulane. These were your top times during the years, and that held true during the prelims. LaJoy broke the ECU pool record earlier this year in this event. The Massachusetts native. And that's LaJoy in lane 6. You see 2 lanes below her for SMU. Samardzic, your defending champ. The butterfly has distinctly favored LaJoy so far. Over to the backstroke. And the backstroke is where, with great confidence, Samardzic is starting to close that gap. She was a semifinalist in Rio, as Kristen noted, in the 100 back, finished 13th, 200 back, finished 15th, and has already claimed an advantage here. And again, right next to her, one of the 4 Cougars, Kutsavelli, out of Athens, Greece.
You know, Lincoln, coming into today, Matea Samardzic's, her best time was 4:13.72, but in prelims, she hit the mark of 4:13.16. So slightly improving on her personal best. We'll see if maybe she can even do better here in the finals.
And I joked yesterday, if you were to do a word cloud for everything we've talked about the first couple of days, PR, pool record, meet record, school record, these things have been shattered the first few days. The competition here has elevated everybody's game, but again, right now, from the backstroke over to the breaststroke, and Samardzic continues to build on her advantage. The final 50 meters of breaststroke, and then over to freestyle. We mentioned those middle 4 lanes, top times throughout the year, top times today in the prelims, and right now those 4 racers are in fact your top 4 here in our first final of the night. Olivia Johnson for Tulane right now in second.
That's Eliana Kutsavelli, it looks like, in third there.
Over to freestyle for the final 100 yards. Can anybody catch up to the Mustang? What a great atmosphere. You see the student athletes on the pool deck cheering on their teammates. Those are the Houston Cougars just below you. They have half the field to root for. And this is your final lap of the 400-yard IM. And it's still your defending champ, Matea Samardzic, out ahead.
She already has 1 gold that she took home the first day on Wednesday night in that 200 medley relay. She's looking for her second. Samardzic
still able to hold off the sophomore Johnson from Tulane. And for a second straight year, Matea Samardzic,
wow,
your fastest woman in the pool in the 400-yard IM, and SMU for a 4th straight year will take this event.
What a time.
4:09.75. Never looked like she was pushing herself to the max. Just always looked so smooth and confident. And of course, it was with the backstroke where she started to really settle into a groove. Matea Samardzic takes your first championship of the day here on day 3. As it comes in the women's 400-yard IM, we take a look at some of the highlights. A great start early on. Again, for Tulane's Olivia Johnson. And we also saw strong showing again, of course, as we were following the Pirate there, Juliette LaJoy early on. But it was with the backstroke that Samardzic reminded everybody this was her race. Continued that with the breaststroke, and ultimately would be able to seal it with freestyle. And that will help the Mustangs climb back up the team standings here on day 3. Folks, we will step aside. When we come back, Matea will receive for a second straight year the top honors in the 400-yard IM, and then have a chance to check in with Kristen here on the American Digital Network.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yeah, so there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extremely...
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention to the awards podium for the presentation of our top 8, the women's 400-yard individual medley. Presenting our awards from UConn, Mandy Collins DeSalle. In 8th place, from Houston, Rebecca Brandt. In 7th place, from UConn, Emma Smith. In 6th place, from Houston, Morgan Rosas. In 5th place, from Houston, Reese Lamp. In 4th place, from ECU, Juliet LaJoy. And now your top 3 ladies in the women's 400-yard individual medley. Your bronze medalist, a junior from Houston, her finals time, 4:14:38. Eliana Kutsavelli. Your silver medalist, a sophomore from Tulane, her finals time, 4:11:98. Olivia Johnson. And your gold medalist in the women's 400-yard individual medley, her finals time, 4:09:75. Back-to-back titles for the senior from SMU, Matea Samardzic.
Matea Samardzic swims a 4:09:75. The silver for a second straight year goes to Olivia Johnson of Tulane with a 4:11:98, which, by the way, another Tulane record goes down. That just continues to be the trend. All of these schools continue to see some of the best performances. Bright future ahead for the American. Johnson, again, just a sophomore, as under the current coaching staff at Tulane, they have seen every record already broken over the past several years. But Matea Samardzic, nothing new, the headliner for the second time this week and for a second straight time in this event. Well, we shift our focus back over to the consolation final for the men's 400-yard IM. By now you know the routine. Butter, back, breast, and free. Just 7 lanes, make it just 6 lanes here in our B final. SMU in lane 2 has Duncan Brookover, Joseph Homan in lane 3, Tyler Jones in lane 4, Zachary Becker out of Cincinnati in lane 5, Manuel Alvarez Garcia, lane 6 out of ECU, and Douglas Quagliato, the sophomore from UConn, in lane 7. So UConn also with the freshman Homan in lane 3, SMU's lone swimmer in this consolation race, Brookover in lane 2. Well, they've become fast friends, it seems. Let's check back in with Matea Samardzic, who's back with Kristen Keith after another gold medal performance.
That's right, your second gold medal of this 2018 conference championship, Matea. What went through your mind during that race? When did you know that you had it?
Well, to be honest, on the backstroke, because that's my best stroke, so I knew that's my biggest advantage. It feels great, and especially because this is my last 400 IM in my career, so I'm very happy about that.
What have you been focusing on to get ready for this conference championship?
Well, a lot of swimming, IM, obviously, working on different strokes, on my weaknesses, and I think it ended up well.
You did phenomenal. We look forward to seeing you in the 100 back later today.
Thank you.
Lincoln.
All right, thank you very much, Kristen. And again, congratulations to Matea and SMU. Not just are these athletes proud to get those medals, but they know it helps the team as well in the overall standings. SMU trying to get back to the top spot here in the American. Again, right now you're watching the men's consolation race this evening for the 400-yard IM. And a advantage for Manuel Alvarez Garcia here for ECU. as they're already into the backstroke. And I think Mattea confirmed what we already knew. The backstroke basically did it for her.
Yeah, that's definitely her strong suit, and we're going to see her later on this evening in that event. She swam a 53.67, the fastest time of anybody in the 100 back. So she'll be trying to take another gold medal home to add to her collection.
This third day is a fun one. We start with the IM, and then we will see fly, free, breaststroke, as well as backstroke on display. Nice variation throughout this evening on a Friday night in Dallas. Again, just 6 racers here in our consolation. And again, another great look by our AD and crew. That's Alvarez Garcia leading the way, and here on the near side, Joseph Homan for UConn, the freshman, in second. You see the Pirate, Alvarez Garcia. He swam a 4:03.05 in the prelims. Just the 4th fastest time among these 6 swimmers. But a nice showing here tonight. We've had a great turnout in the crowd here inside the Nat over the first couple of days, but frankly, what makes the atmosphere is how close the teammates are along the pool deck and how interested they remain.
You know what I love to see is that so many of these student athletes are international student athletes, and they've seen each other in world games and championships, several different meets, and when they come together in this conference meet, it's a friendly rivalry, a good atmosphere to see so many people who have competed against one another. Mattea, I know, had competed against several other females in the Commonwealth Games just a few years back, so reuniting with them, I'm sure, is exciting.
And a great element here on the American Digital Network is the fact so easy for an international audience to tune in. We've already seen many folks already submit their selfies with some of their favorite family members here overseas who are swimming in the background when they have a chance to catch up with you and also compete for championships here. Freestyle looking for a great finish, as it was a lot closer than perhaps we thought it would be early on. Zachary Becker, I believe, will be the first to touch, able to overcome the deficit against Alvarez Garcia. So he takes the top spot here in the consolation final with a time of 3:59.12. The top 2 racers both were sub 4 seconds, both topping their prelim times. And of course, that will lead us now into our championship for the men's 400-yard IM.
You're going to see that a lot today on the men's side, Lincoln. Cincinnati and ECU battling it out really close. A lot of the events that we have, there's going to be 2 from each school, or maybe 3 on one and 2 on the other, and they're all in the top time. So
we'll have 3 Bearcats in a moment here in our championship, along with 2 Huskies and a pair of Pirates.
But the Lone Ranger from SMU, that Mustang, he is going to be the leader, Jonathan Gomez. It's really interesting how we talk about Cincinnati and ECU going back and forth, but this is one of the events that keep your eye out on lane 4. Jonathan Gomez is going to be in a very similar situation as to the women's final in Mattea Samardzic.
Gomez already has a championship this week. In a moment, we'll walk you through our 8 lanes. This is a race that Jonathan Gomez won last year with a time of 3:43.97. But we've seen Bearcats, Pirates, and Mustangs, as well as Huskies, win this over the years. No school has produced multiple winners. Great parity here in the 400-yard IM. In lane 1, it'll be Patrick Cavanaugh, the senior for UConn out of Frederick, Maryland. Next to him, Matthew Dejanay, the junior Husky, his teammate from UConn. Lane 3, Bullock Polakowski, the senior for ECU. And then again, your defending champ, Jonathan Gomez. He won the 500 free yesterday, has the SMU record in this event. Ryan DePrito is a senior for Cincinnati. Cincinnati had the top 3 times in this event this year among American racers. Lane 6, Esteban Araya for ECU. Lane 7 is Nathan Jones, a sophomore for the Bearcats, and his younger teammate, Remington Olin, a freshman for the Bearcats, the native of Thurmont, Maryland. All eyes will be on Gomez here early on.
Gomez bested his time coming in by 4 seconds in the prelims today.
So we have a Colombian in lane 4, a Costa Rican native in lane 6.
Wow. Did you see Gomez? Almost 3/4 of the length underwater.
Yeah, he would wear a cape on his back, but that, I'm told, would slow you down a bit.
Look at that start already.
Freestyle will be his strong event. Already
That's right.
a great start with the butterfly.
He took gold in the 500 free yesterday.
And already early separation. That's Ryan DePrito, who's next to him, a senior for Cincinnati. Matthew Dejanay, a couple lanes below him in lane 2 for UConn, also in the hunt right now.
DePietro actually has the second best time overall, including the prelims today, with a 3:54.25 coming in, so really close. Just a couple hundreds of seconds that separate Gomez and DePietro from there.
That's got to be one of your toughest transitions right there, switching over to back. First 25 yards complete, and it's still Gomez out ahead. Right now, Gomez, DePietro for Cincinnati, and Dejanay for UConn. Our final lap of backstroke. Well, the women's race, we did not see a leader from start to finish. That is the challenge now for Gomez. Still have breaststroke and freestyle coming up. Gomez about to switch over. As he was almost a full 3 seconds better than the next swimmer in the pool. Again, Ryan DePietro in lane 5 already has posted an NCAA B time this year. And he's in second at the moment. 3 laps remaining. This your final lap of the breaststroke.
DePietro placed 3rd in this event last year. Qualified for U.S. Olympic trials as well in the 400 IM.
Yeah, DePietro won this event 3 years ago as a freshman, making a splash on the scene. Lane 3's Pirate. The Polakowski won it the next year. So we actually have 3 of our previous champions in the pool right now, including last year's champ in the lead, Gomez. And again, this is where Gomez would expect to pull away.
Gomez, a Colombian native, as you mentioned, who has raced for the national team. He said he actually chose to come to SMU based on their great business school. He's an economics major, and the fact that they were such a good school swimming-wise and academics-wise here. That's why he came to Dallas.
Final lap for Jonathan Gomez, still out ahead of DePietro. Dejanay still in 3rd. Final length of the pool for Jonathan Gomez here in our first men's event of the day. And Jonathan Gomez already knows the way to the top of the podium. He's done it again here in the 400-yard IM. A time of 3:50.18. Makes him 2.5 seconds better Then the Husky Desjardins, who finishes second. DePietro, a past champion, in third. A wire-to-wire victory for Jonathan Gomez. And the Mustangs having themselves a nice start. Well, we saw a Croatian for the women for the Mustangs win it in lane 4. This time the Colombian for the Mustangs, Jonathan Gomez. And as Christian admired the great start, and he never had to look back. As he would lead through every stroke, and certainly we knew that would favor him by the time freestyle would roll around. Jonathan Gomez, again, his time of 3:50.18. When we come back, we'll see yet another Mustang atop the podium here in their home pool. And Jonathan will join us here on the American Digital Network.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials,
student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
Be American.
Power.
Power. Power.
Power for life.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could direct your attention over to the awards staging area, please, the podium, for the presentation of the awards for our men's 400-yard individual medley. Presenting our awards from Yukon, Mendy Commons DeSalle. Your top 8 gentlemen in the 400-yard individual medley in 8th place from Yukon, Patrick Kavanaugh. In 7th place from ECU, Bolek DePolakowski. In 6th place from ECU, Esteban Araya. In 5th place from Cincinnati, Robert Olin. In 4th place from Cincinnati, Nathan Jonas. And now your top 3 gentlemen in our 400-yard individual medley. Your bronze medalist with a finals time 3:53.12, a senior from Cincinnati, Ryan DiPietro. Your silver medalist with a finals time of 3:52.49, a junior from Yukon, Matthew Desjardins. And your men's champion, your gold medalist with a finals time of 3:50.18, going back-to-back for the senior from SMU, Jonathan Gomez.
So Jonathan Gomez again gets to pose with the gold around his neck as we welcome you back poolside. Lincoln Rose, Kristen Keith. And Kristen, we knew coming into those first events for the women and the men, SMU would only have 1 swimmer in the pool, but they were going to be relying on these events for points early on.
Absolutely, and even moving forward, the next event that we're going to see, the 100 fly for the women, it's a kind of wide open race, but Erin Traha has the best time, and she's coming in. She's going to be the lead swimmer for the women's side, and that's another good opportunity for SMU. We'll see if they can't collect some points early on, because this is when they need it.
Well, we're about to watch the consolation, the 2 laps of butterfly for the women, the women's 100 fly. As in lane 1, Danielle Bordas, Rebecca Brandt in lane 2 for Houston, Megan Winmans in lane 3, the sophomore for Yukon. Alexandra Brindisi is a senior for Tulane. Next to her teammate in lane 5, Gabriela Vieira. Madison Kinsey is in lane 6, a freshman for SMU. Katie Bro, the sophomore for the Huskies. And then lane 8, Victoria Gillet, the sophomore for ECU. Again, this is your consolation final, all 8 lanes occupied. In a moment, Jonathan Gomez will have a chance to check in with us for yet another occasion on the American Digital Network, but we'll have a chance to look in on this B final as well. Again, 2 complete laps of butterfly. And the champion is back with Kristen. Let's check in with them.
Jonathan, your second gold medal of this conference championship. What went right for you in that race?
I mean, I'm not too happy with the time. I thought it was going much faster. We definitely prepared to be better, and then I'm kind of disappointed the way I swim it. But we just got to move on and then get ready for tomorrow.
What do you need to change moving forward for that race?
I think I'm just really focusing for NCAA, so we're not really prepared for this weekend. But, I mean, just go faster, train harder, and then build some endurance.
You'll get a chance to taper off later on, I'm sure. Good luck the rest of this meet. Thank you.
Again, congratulations to Jonathan. He is his own self-motivator. And right after the interview, he immediately took the medal off. He knew it was time to go back to business. Rebecca Brandt for the Cougars takes the consolation final, just out touching Fort Tulane. Vieira. SMU's Kinsey finishes third in that B final.
Lincoln, I love his attitude, Jonathan Gomez's attitude there, because he finished with a time of 3:50.18, his best this season, but last year when he won, he raced 7 seconds faster. Yep. And I get that. Coming from being an athlete, you're always against your own personal best. That's why I always ask, you know, what's more important? Is it winning this medal, which I'm sure means a great deal to him, but he knows he can race faster. Let's see, hopefully he'll save that in the bag for NCAAs.
And it's a short walk over to her teammates. Again, those Houston Cougars, they've had different T-shirts each of these first 3 days. Day one, it was the target on the back. Yesterday, the reference, Houston Strong, of course, as it's been, well, about 6 months or less since the hurricane struck. But here come your finalists now for our second women's race of the day, the women's 100-yard fly. This is a race that will have a new champion this year after a Mustang had won it each of the last 4 years. Talking about Erasmus. Marnie Erasmus finally ran out of eligibility as a senior last year when she won it for a 4th straight year.
Everybody else is thankful for that.
So the event considered up for grabs. One of your favorites will be for SMU, a sophomore, Erin Traha. We'll get to her in just a moment. Let's walk you through our participants. Lane 1, that's Caitlin Simpson, senior for Tulane out of Quebec. Lane 2 is Liselott Benton, a freshman for ECU. Lane 3, Felicity Passon, went to high school over in the UK. Lane 4, Erin Traha, the sophomore for SMU, will be one of your focus points. Lane 5 as well, Victoria Tillman, a freshman for the Cougars. Lane 6, Simone Palomo, sophomore for Cincinnati, has the conference's top time in the 200 fly. Lane 7 is Katie Higgins for Houston, a freshman. And lane 8, Michaela Wheeler, sophomore for Cincinnati. But you talk about Erin Traha in lane 4, the sophomore. Native of Crowley, Louisiana, was the runner-up last year to the 4-time champ and her teammate. She tries to become the 5th straight Mustang to win this. And she is truly a butterfly specialist who happened to add some backstroke into her repertoire this year until Andrea Podmanikova joined the team in January.
4 of these athletes, Lincoln, have already hit the B standard. You're looking at lane 3, 4, 5, and 7. Already hit that B standard. Should be a fast race.
Traha does have the conference's best time this year at a 53.56, where we are halfway through our 100-yard fly.
She was able to shave a second off of that time in prelims. We'll see if she can't shave a little more in this race.
How about the Mustangs pushing each other right now? Traha with Passon below her in lane 3. And that has the Mustangs excited. There is a push from ECU's Benton. But when it's all said and done, it's going to be Traha, a great comeback by Tillman for Houston, the freshman, and Passon unable to hang on to 3rd. It's Katie Simpson for Tulane.
tight finish there.
So the senior from Canada, Simpson, with a strong finish, able to wrestle that final spot on the podium away from Simone Palomo. But Traha now keeps the way of the Mustangs going. They've won each of the first 2 women's races and the only men's race so far. Obviously, that's 2 different standings that will accumulate points, the women and men, for the overall title this week.
That's huge. That's huge to start a day off that way, Lincoln. Really helps with the momentum. Even in the later races where some of you're not the top seeded individuals coming into those races, that momentum really helps.
So Traha last year was silver. This year will take 1 step higher, up for gold. It was the women's 100-yard butterfly here on day 3. A talented field of 8. But Traha with a teammate right next to her, Pisoni, pushing her a lot of the way. A lot of respect for Victoria Tillman. The race she was able to run, that strong finish on the final length. So this would be Traha's race from start to finish. Traha first, and a tight finish the rest of the way. We'll step aside, another gold medal to be handed out on the podium when we return here on ADN.
$7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni.
Slot Benton. In 6th place from SMU, Felicity Passon. In 5th place from Houston, Katie Higgins. In 4th place from Cincinnati, Simone Palomo. And now your top 3 ladies in the 100-yard butterfly. Your bronze medalist with a finals time of 54:28. A senior from Tulane, Caitlin Simpson. Your silver medalist with a finals time of 54:26. A freshman at Houston, Victoria Tillman. And your gold medalist with a finals time of 53:28, a sophomore at SMU, 5 straight years now for the Mustangs, Erin Traha.
Well, Traha topped her best time this year, which had been a 53:56. She swims a 53:28 in the pool to pick up a convincing victory in the 100 fly. Again, welcome back here on ADN. Lincoln Rose along with Chris and Keith. Hi, Mom. Everybody else tuning in at home here on ADN. And again, for the Mustangs, it's not about the numbers in the pool, but who they have there already accumulating a lot of points early on.
Absolutely, and first place is big, Lincoln. You want to score early on to set the momentum, set the tone for the rest of your team, and those first place finishes are going to catch up. So maybe they have a shot to catch Houston. We'll see on the women's side, and on the men's side, Cincinnati's the team to catch. We'll see if they can't do something there. And you've got Bryce Klein on the 3-meter board later on for the men today in diving, and she's expected to win that event as well. So there's several events where they can make up some ground today.
Traha, the pride of Louisiana, just a sophomore at SMU. We'll have a chance to come talk with Kristen in just a moment with that gold medal, as we will shift our attention here back to the pool briefly for the consolation 100 fly for the men. It'll be a full field in lane 1. Magnus Anderson, a sophomore for ECU. Sophomore from Cincinnati is Alex Fortman in lane 2. Earl Kilbride, a junior for the Mustangs, next to his senior teammate Nicholas Bansky for the Mustangs. Maxime Kadian is a junior for the Pirates. UConn with a freshman in lane 6, William Mudlaff. Garrett Carson in lane 7, a junior for SMU. And rounding out this consolation final field, the sophomore for Cincinnati is Joseph Puglisi. same as the women. 2 laps, down and back, down and back. Add it all up, that's 100 yards of butterfly on display tonight. Moments ago, our second women's race, victorious sophomore Erin Traha took the gold. She is now with Kristen.
Silver in this race. This year you take gold. What was the difference?
Well, last year I had my teammate Marnay, who's really fast. I mean, she has a meet record and everything. And honestly, training with her really helped. So this year I just had to keep it, for her.
What did you focus on in that race and tell yourself to go ahead and pull off that first place finish?
Underwaters. I've been training underwaters over and over again, and it really helps. And I was proud of that. I wanted to go faster, but because this morning I was, but it was still a good race.
Your second gold medal in the meet. Congratulations, Lincoln.
Again, you feel great for these individuals. A lot of strong showings from their competitors. And Traha had enough to hang on for the victory there. And again, you heard the reference to Marnay. Marnay and Erasmus had won that event each of the first 4 years. Mustangs now have a monopoly on the 100-yard fly for the women. Meanwhile, our consolation, you just saw Nicholas Batsky for SMU as this Mustang trend continues. He was able to just out-touch Maxime Kadiat for ECU. Lanes 4 and 5 came through there as your top 2 finishes. And on the right of your screen, you see the parade for our championship here in the men's 100-yard butterfly. This is for the podium. What music would you be listening to right now?
I used to always listen to a little bit of Audio Slave or Rage Against the Machines to get me pumped up before I either pole vaulted or you know what, diving, I didn't really need to get pumped up. I kind of needed to chill out, actually, for diving, but to get pumped up for a race or anything like that, a little bit of rock music always worked for me.
I'm sure I'd be more of a Jordan Sparks, How Can I Breathe with No Air?
Ballet for you, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lane 1 will be Tyler Zieg, the senior for ECU. Kyle Kimura is a senior for UConn in lane 2. William Segala, the sophomore for Cincinnati in lane 3. And your fastest time in the prelims with a time of 47.43, Gustavo Santos, the sophomore for the Pirates in lane 4. Simon Goldchicks, your junior for the Mustangs, continues the trend. Just one Mustang in the pool, but he's right there in the middle in lane 5. David May in lane 6, the freshman for UConn. Next to him in lane 7, Victor Martins, the junior for the Pirates. And it is a Bearcat in lane 8, George Epsley, the sophomore. ECU won this last year. Santos is back to defend his title in lane 4. He won it last year as a freshman, back now in his sophomore campaign, looking to avoid the slump. SMU has seen swimmers win this in previous years as well, as we're underway. Again, 2 laps of butterfly. Over in a hurry.
Santos looking to beat his time of 47.07 from last season. He comes on with a time, though, of 47.43.
Had the best time during the season this year. Right now, it's Goldchick in lane 5 ahead of Santos by 6/100ths of a second after the first lap. And those 6/100ths have been erased. Down to the wire. And it will, in fact, be the Pirate defending his title. Gustavo Santos, the sophomore, is 2 for 2 in the American in the men's 100-yard fly.
Great time, 46.82.
That is a new meet record, which had been originally set back in 2014 at 47.04. A pool record as well. And we have noted Certainly not the first, and we don't expect the last record to fall over these 4 days in Dallas.
Second place finish for the Mustangs.
Yeah, Golczyk takes second. David May for UConn will be the third man on the podium in a moment. We take a look back at the 2 laps of butterfly. Santos, the defending champ. Golczyk was looking to keep it going for SMU after the Mustangs took the earlier race. But each time on each of the 2 laps, it was Santos the first to touch the wall. This touch the most important of them all. We'll step aside here on ADN. Champion will be crowned once again when we return.
When learning creates leaders, ideas are ignited, focus gets sharper, and service connects generations. We commit our expertise to heal, to discover, and to drive our region forward to a brighter tomorrow. East Carolina University. Tomorrow starts here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention to the podium for the awards presentation of the men's 100-yard butterfly. The awards being presented by UConn's Chris Maiello. Of course, in Matt Jobs, ECU. Presenting our awards, Matt Jobs, ECU. Your top 8. In 8th place from Cincinnati, George Epsley. In 7th place from UConn, Kyle Kimura. In 6th place from ECU, Tyler Zig. In 5th place from Cincinnati, William Sigala. In 4th place from ECU, Victor Martins dos Santos. And now your top 3 gentlemen in the 100-yard butterfly. Your bronze medalist with a finals time of 47.58, a freshman from UConn, David May. Your silver medalist with a finals time of 47.44, the junior from SMU, Simon Golczyk. And your gold medalist with a finals time of 46.82. Going back-to-back for the sophomore from ECU, Gustavo Santos.
Second straight year that Pirate stands atop the podium for the 100 fly. As we welcome you back here on ADN, we want to note that for David May and UConn earlier today in the prelims, he set a new Husky record. He just broke that record here tonight. That puts him in 3rd because the meet record falls with the performance of Santos for ECU.
That's right. That 46.82 is now going to be a new conference record as well as a new school record for ECU. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure he's got to be proud of himself there.
He'll have a chance to talk to Kristen in just a moment as he makes his way from the podium over here poolside. The American has not disappointed over these first 2.5 days now in Dallas. We'll close things out with a full schedule tomorrow as well, beginning at 6 o'clock Central in the evening. That's with your finals. Of course, the prelims continue to stream live as well each morning on the American Digital Network. This is going to be the women's 200-yard freestyle, our consolation final. As lane 1 is going to be Morgan Tasic, the sophomore for Tulane. Stephanie Schwartzel is the sophomore for the Pirates in lane 2. Bearcats in lane 3, the senior Sarah Wanasek. Adrian Santa, the senior for SMU in lane 4. Maddie Exton, the freshman for Cincinnati in lane 5. Bridget Burke, the senior Pirate in lane 6. Maddie Blair, the junior for UConn in lane 7, and Casey Rose closes it out for SMU, the junior in lane out. Well, let's check back in with Kristen, who's with our most recent champion.
Gustavo, your second gold medal of this meet, but what was really impressive was your time, not only a personal best, a conference best, a school record. How were you able to do it?
I'm happy with the time, but I was expecting to go a little bit faster. Yeah, I was training my back half too much this semester, so I was expecting more.
Okay, well, you broke all those records. You're expecting a little bit more. What's it going to take to be able to do that possibly at NCs?
I think I'll have to work more on underwaters and on my start.
Phenomenal race. Go rest up. Appreciate it. Lincoln.
And you could tell how much he put into that. That's another competitor who still wants to push themselves more. Again, you are looking in at the consolation final for the women's 200-yard freestyle. And right now it's in lane 2. Stephanie Scherwitzel, the sophomore for the Pirates, out in front. In 200 yards, 4 laps, halfway through. This is our only freestyle event today, the 200 for the women and the men. We'll have one breaststroke event, one backstroke still to come as well. It's basically a medley Friday here in the American, with each stroke on display. We will sneak over the diving boards a little bit later on. Scherwitzel hanging on to the advantage there with that pirate cap on. Right behind her, over in lane 4, that's Adrian Santa, the senior for SMU. And it will finish Maddie Exton closing out. Scherwitzel hangs on to second in our consolation race, Santa in third. So the top time in our B final, 1:48.94. As it belongs to Exton of the Bearcats. $200-yard freestyle. This is an event where Missy Franklin still has the NCAA record swimming for Cal a few years ago, a time of 1:39.10. But here in the American, it's another event where only one woman has ever won it. She has since graduated, and Jacqueline Keir. We will have just our second ever champion in moments here in the 200-yard free. Cougars have the advantage of delivering the final high fives there based on their bench position.
They also have 3 of the top 4 from times coming in from the preliminaries. Before prelims coming into the meet as a whole, they had the top 3 times, so it's going to be a battle. Huge scoring opportunity for the Cougars.
Well, in lane 1, it's not a Cougar, it's a Pirate. The senior from ECU is Tori Angermeyer. The South Carolinians right next to Jacqueline Van Loo, the junior from UConn. Shelly Zelnick, a junior from Tulane out of Troy, Ohio. Then we get into 3 straight Cougars. Zarina Brown has already claimed a championship this week. Ksenia Yaskova will test her in lane 5, the senior. And Mackenzie Leahy, the freshman from Houston, one of your 4 Cougars in lane 6. Rocky Lobbs will put a Bearcat, the sophomore, in lane 7. And Samantha Medlin is your 4th Houston Cougar to qualify for our final, the native of Cary, North Carolina. You have 2 of the top 21 NCAA times this year in your middle 2 lanes. Ksenia Yaskova had the 20th best time. Zarina Brown, the 21st.
1/100th of a difference.
Yeah, you flip-flopped that, though, with their performance in the prelims earlier today. But they'll be right next to each other, pushing one another just like they do in practice all year long. Yeah, their times this year, 1:44.88, 1:44.89. Yaskova from Moscow, Russia. Brown from Colorado.
Well, the meet record, as you mentioned, 1:43 from Jackie Kier from Cincinnati, who's finally out the race. It's opened up.
She set that last year when she won the event for a 4th time. The two Cougars at the moment with the advantage. And a nice race in lane 2 there by the Husky Jacqueline Van Loo, the junior. But at the moment,
Serena Brown, she's already got 2 first places. Is she going to go for a 3rd, Lincoln?
Brown, the sophomore. And you see just above her the senior Yaskova. Mackenzie Leahy, their teammate, just out of the picture, is giving Yaskova a race. And down in lane 1, can't overlook Angermeyer for ECU. She's in 2nd right now. And I don't know if Brown spots her. So right now it's Brown for the Cougars, Angermeyer in lane 1 in 2nd. And the first to touch, Brown with a time of 1:45.78. Houston will take 2nd and 3rd as well as Yaskova and Leahy in lanes 5 and 6 help complete the Cougar sweep on the podium.
Huge for them.
By the way, Cougars 4 of the top 5 finishers here in the 200 free. And if Serena's not already on a first-name basis with Kristen, they'll be pen pals soon enough. The time of 1:45.78 for Serena Brown. Again, not a PR for her, but enough to get the victory today. As the Cougars there are occupying, as you see the replay, lanes 4, 5, and 6, as well as lane 8. All of them would finish in the top 5. Brown would go wire to wire. Tori Angermeyer in lane 1 with a great showing would finish 4th. But it'll be 3 Cougars on the podium, the sweep, when we return.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could direct your attention to the awards podium for our presentation to the women's 200-yard freestyle. Those awards being presented by UConn's Chris Maiello. In 8th place from Tulane, Michelle Zelnick. In 7th place from UConn, Jacqueline Van Loo. In 6th place from Cincinnati, Rocky Lobbs. In 5th place from Houston, Samantha Medlin. In 4th place from ECU, Tori Angermeyer. And now your top three ladies in the 200-yard freestyle. Your bronze medalist with a finals time of 1:47.85. A freshman from Houston, Mackenzie Leahy. Your silver medalist with a finals time of 1:47.71. A senior at Houston, Ksenia Yuskova. And your gold medalist in the women's 200-yard freestyle. Her finals time, a new pool record, 1:45.78. A sophomore from Houston, Zarina Brown.
Brown, Yuskova, and Leahy, a Cougar sweep in the women's 200-yard free. Lincoln Rose, Kristen Keith back with you here on the American Digital Network, part of our Day 3 coverage. Kristen, tell me if you've heard this. Coming up is the men's race. 4 of the 8 spots will belong to Bearcats, including the top 3 lanes, something we just saw for the Cougar women. Let's see if Cincinnati can pull off a similar feat.
Yeah, they're going to be looking for those points. You know, I know they're still in first place as of right now, but it is a tight race on the men's side. It's much closer than the women's race at this point, and those points come in handy right now. 3 opportunities. They're looking to recap the exact same way that you just said the Cougars did.
And yet it'll be John Meyer of ECU in that men's final coming up here soon enough. This is the consolation about to get started. Meyer, the defending champ, will be in lane 7. But let's get you here to our B final. Again, our consolation race for the men's 200 free. Lane 1, Christian Scherbel, the senior for SMU. Gavin Erdman, junior for the Pirates in lane 2. Andre Kuhn in lane 3 for the sophomore for UConn. Grega Popovich, no relation, the sophomore Pirate in lane 4. Joshua Roblewski, the freshman for UConn in lane 5. Carson Klein, the junior Mustang in lane 6. And Carl Bishop rounds out the 7-swimmer field here in our B final, the sophomore for UConn. Again, our B final about to get underway. Well, the folks at home didn't hear it, but when Zarina walked up to Kristen, she told her, "I just had to see you again." Kristen, let's send it back over to you two.
Well, if you keep winning gold medals like this, you will. 3rd time around, your 3rd gold medal of the race. What an awesome 200 freestyle event for you. What was working so well?
I just really tried to focus on like my stroke and keeping my rhythm because my stroke is very rhythmic. So I was feeling really good in the warm up, doing really good pace. I was really excited to swim that.
Your team swept that race, 1, 2, 3, and you also got the 5th spot, a huge scoring opportunity. How important is that at this point in the meet?
Well, we all train together, and so it's always just like we flip and then we're all within like 0.3 of each other. So I knew that it was going to be like a 1, 2, 3, and we really work hard together. So it was fantastic to have us all sweep it.
I know your parents are here watching. I'm sure you want to go say hi and give them that medal. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Lincoln.
I believe that was the 3rd fastest time in program history for the Cougars to have set a high bar. And I have a feeling that won't be the last we hear from Zarina and the Cougars. Right now, you're looking in on the B final for the 200 free for the men. As Erdman with the advantage right now, Kuhn in 2nd. You see Carson Klein for the Mustangs in 3rd. ECU, the men, your 3-time defending champions. This year, Cincinnati has led after the first 2 days on the men's side. And the winner of your B final, your consolation, is Carson Klein for the Mustangs, followed by Popovich for ECU and Kuhn for UConn. And soon enough, that will tee us up for our final here in the men's 200. Mentioned it's an event that John Meyer of ECU won last year. We've seen SMU with Christian Scherbel win it a couple of times. He came up short his junior year, but is back in his senior campaign. Or pardon me, I said missed out on the final here in his senior campaign. You just saw him there in the B final. despite being a champion his freshman and sophomore years. But this is an event where when we have the parade come through, you'll see a lot of Bearcat representation. Half of this field from Cincinnati. A pair of Pirates in the mix as well, trying to get ECU back atop the standings.
Top 3 preliminary times today went to Bearcats. Huge opportunity for them.
2 Mustangs as well.
John Meyer returns to try and retake the crown. He has it from last year.
It is a constant adrenaline rush here inside the arena as you constantly change over from one race to the next. Athletes have their chance to parade through and line up as we take you through the 8 lanes of men's 200-yard freestyle. Laj Demsar is the sophomore for ECU in lane 1. Matthew Nutter, the freshman for SMU in lane 2. Lane 3 is Justin Crew, a junior for Cincinnati. Dean Selmanovic, the sophomore for the Bearcats, has already made some noise in the pool this week. Hans Kabelka for Cincinnati will be next to him, his teammate, the freshman. Lane 6 will be Lucas Schinke, the junior for SMU. Your defending champion is over in lane 7, John Meyer for ECU, the senior, and next to him, the Bearcat senior, Christopher Brady. And I actually told you lane 1 and lane 8 flip-flopped. So it is Demsar who is over there for ECU in lane 8, Brady in lane 1. The meet record was set the very first year of the American in 2014. João De Luca with a time of 1:32.29 for the Cardinals.
Din Selmanovic in lane 4 bested his time by about a second this morning in the preliminaries.
Yeah, he was able to post a 1:36.43 after he led the conference this year with a 1:37.36, almost shaving a second off his time. Kabelka right now leads the way for the Bearcats. We mentioned half the field from Cincinnati. And it's Schinke for SMU who is in second. Well, you see 3 Bearcats side by side by side in lanes 3 through 5. And it's a pair of Bearcats out in front, a Mustang in third. And this has everybody on the pool deck excited for the finish here in the 200 free. It's lane 5, Kabelka, the freshman, looking to leave his mark. And a battle at the wall between the Bearcats. It's Kabelka who just out-touches by 0.02 of a second Selmanovic.
Wow.
In third, a Bearcat as well. They complete the sweep on the podium with Justin Crew, the third to reach the wall. And you talk about a team that was already atop the men's standings with 299 points through the first 2 days. And that will be another shot in the arm for Cincinnati.
They're going to separate themselves with that race, Lincoln.
Lucas Schinke had the responsibility for SMU in lane 6, trying to keep up with a pair of Bearcats. But the top 3 finishes would go to lanes 5, 4, and 3 in that order. It's a freshman who's your new champion here in the men's 200 in the American. Hans Kabelka will stand atop the podium for the first time this week with a pair of familiar teammates at his side when we return.
For every hero, there is an origin story. An experience that made them who they are. For a new generation of explorers, pioneers, and innovators, that experience is calling, offering a different kind of education, one guided by distinguished professors who understand experience is the best teacher. Greatness lies beyond the classroom. This is where you start. University of Cincinnati. Do more.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could direct your attention to the podium for our awards presentation of the men's 200-yard freestyle event. And those awards being presented by UConn's Chris Maiello. Your top 8 gentlemen in 8th place from Cincinnati, Christopher Brady. In 7th place from ECU, John Meyer. In 6th place from SMU, Lucas Schenke. In 5th place from SMU, Matthew Nutter. In 4th place from ECU, Vlas Demsar. And now your top 3 gentlemen in the 200-yard freestyle. Your bronze medalist with a finals time of 1:37.49. Junior from Cincinnati, Justin Cruz. Your silver medalist with a finals time of 1:36.85. A sophomore from Cincinnati, Dean Selvanovic. And with the win by 2/100ths of a second, your gold medalist, the finals time 1:36.83. A freshman from Cincinnati, Johannes Kabelka.
Hans Kabelka able to out-touch some of his teammates. Remember, there were 4 Bearcats in the pool as we welcome you back. Chris Brady also with Cincinnati was in lane 8, finished 8th in that race. Nobody's happier for those 3 than Brady, the senior. He holds several records for Cincinnati, and he would be just fine if they eventually wiped his name from the books, because that means the program continues to get better.
That's right. That's what it's all about. You know, and it's funny because you're seeing the exact same thing happen on the Houston women's side, because the younger kids are cropping up and they're beating their times, and it's a really good sign of a program in success and what's gonna come of the future. It's nice to see for Cincinnati. It's nice to see for Houston. Seeing things like that, taking 1, 2, and 3 on the podium, you can't beat that as a head coach.
Presumably for Kabelka, he'll have 3 more chances to win this event in his career. Just a freshman taking this one, and again, the podium happens to be right next to Cincinnati's women and men. So no shortage of pats on the back for the young man as he makes his way over here.
You know, and Dean Zelmanovic and Justin Crew were also part of the 800 free relay of Cincinnati that won a gold medal to start things off in day 1. So it's nice to see them see success together.
Well, this is going to be the 100-yard breaststroke consolation race, your B final. Lane 1, Samantha Bassman, a senior for UConn. Grace Seibert, a freshman from Cincinnati in lane 2. ECU with a freshman in lane 3, talking about Paulina Maszczytovic. Lena Hayakawa, the junior for Tulane, in lane 4 in this consolation race. Victoria Hunt in lane 5, the freshman for Cincinnati. UConn sophomore Kylie Stotler in lane 6. Pakuati Sopapong, the junior for Cincinnati, in lane 7, and Jenny Novak, the freshman for UConn, rounds out the 8 swimmer field here in our B final. Well, with 4 Bearcats in that race, no surprise that Kristen is with one of them when it's all said and done, as she checks in with the freshman Hans Kabelka. Kristen?
Hans, you're just a freshman, but already your 2nd gold medal in this year's meet. You did it with 2 of the guys you were standing at the podium with day 1, and now you were the guy, the Lone Ranger, in 1st place. How did you do it?
I just wanted it really bad. I knew that Dean was really good. I knew that the guys were all coming for me, and I just wanted the medal. So I head down and went for it.
What have you been focusing on trying to get ready for this conference meet?
I've really just been focusing on my endurance. I've been trying to, because I've always been a sprinter, so I've just been trying to get better at long distance stuff and just work on my med distance capabilities.
Well, you did phenomenal in that race. Good luck the rest of this meet.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, congratulations to Hans and all of the Bearcats. What a showing for Kabelka and company. Again, Hans out of Columbus, Ohio, getting to swim collegiately in his home state for Cincinnati for the next 4 years. And here in our consolation race with a time of 1:03.44 is Victoria Hunt for the Bearcats, keeping the good vibes going. ECU finishes 3rd, Tulane in, second, Tulane in 3rd. And our B final there for the women's 100-yard breaststroke. Well, Texas swimmers have won this event the last 3 years. Houston took it last year. SMU the previous 2 seasons. Peyton Condis was your champion a year ago. She'll be in lane 4 soon enough as they parade in. This is another field with 3 Cougars in it. Bearcats will have the outer lanes, lane 1 and lane 8. As Tulane and SMU, as well as ECU, with 1 swimmer apiece, contending for the women's 100-yard breaststroke. But Condis, your defending champion, returns with the best regular season time this year. She swam an NCAA B standard time, just over a minute. And as we take you through, for the Bearcats, one of the 2 in the pool, Kennedy Herbert, the senior. Kate McDonald's a freshman from Tulane, competing for the title here tonight out of San Antonio. Angeliki Mavransa, the sophomore from Houston, out of Athens, Greece, one of our 2 Greek swimmers on display today. Peyton Condis, the sophomore for Houston, in lane 4. The youth movement continues. The freshman, Andrea Podmanikova, the lane 5 Mustang. Lane 6, Jimenez, the sophomore for Houston. As Vendela Norman, the senior for ECU, in lane 7. And in lane 8, Julie Hugh, the junior for UConn. Condis in lane 4. Again, would have the slight edge in terms of the times we have seen recently. But don't put it past Podmanikova, who joined SMU this January and immediately came out firing on all cylinders, won 2 of her first 3 individual races on January 5th against top 10 Missouri. They came in this, the 100 breaststroke and the 200.
Condis leads it. Podmanikova's shortly behind her. Oh, she takes the lead.
Podmanikova with the slight edge.
It's going to be close.
Here is your finish coming up in the 100-yard breaststroke. Condis in 4 for the for the Cougars. Podmanikova for SMU, and the Cougars will take it.
Wow, what a comeback!
Cougars take 2 of the 3 spots on the podium. Condis, your champion. Podmanikova for SMU takes silver, and Mavransa will take the bronze for Houston as well. There with the embrace. And that is your women's 100-yard breaststroke. Second straight year, the Cougars will take the title. Last year, it was a time of 100.73 that claimed the victory. This year, you are talking about a time of 59.73 and 59.95. Both of those would have been good enough for a pool record here today. Condis was the first to surface on that final turn and made the push by the narrow margin. Well, the Cougars swept their last event. They'll have to settle for just 2 of the 3 spots, gold and bronze. They'll be celebrated when we return.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention to the podium for the awards presentation. Presenting the awards for the women's 100-yard breaststroke event of the Houston Cougars, Ryan Wokamerka. Your top 8 ladies in 8th place from UConn, Julie Hugh. In 7th place from ECU, Vandella Norman. In 6th place from Houston, Maria Jimenez Peon. In 5th place from Cincinnati, Kennedy Herbert. In 4th place from Tulane, Catherine McDonald. And now your top 3 ladies in the women's 100-yard breaststroke. Your bronze medalist, the sophomore from Houston, her final time 1:01:40. Angie Mavranza. Your silver medalist, her finals time 59:95. Freshman from SMU, Andrea Podmanikova. And your gold medalist with a finals time of 59:73, going back-to-back for the sophomore from Houston, Peyton Condis.
So both Texas schools represented that time on the podium. Cougars take gold and bronze. As congratulations again. And here's another story on the women's side. They continue to amass the points, looking to repeat here in 2018.
Very impressive showing from them, especially from the younger people. Sophomore Peyton Condis, she got a silver medal yesterday in the 200 IM. Now she gets her first gold medal for the Cougars. Impressive start for the sophomore.
We'll have the men's race coming up next. We'll have a new champion in the men's 100-yard breaststroke. Will Hicks was your 2-time champion for the Pirates. ECU will have a couple in the final coming up in a little bit. Again, now we have our consolation race for the 100 breaststroke. Just going to be a 6-swimmer field. Lane 2, Zachary Becker, the freshman from Cincinnati. Keanu Kitching, the junior for SMU in lane 3. That's Andrew Queen in lane 4, the senior for the Pirates. Lane 5, Ronan Farr, the sophomore for SMU. Alan Lee in lane 6, junior for UConn, and then a Mustang. And Arthur Yen will round things out, the sophomore in lane 7. 100, so just 2 laps here of the breaststroke for the men. And our consolation, your B final. Well, Kristen is now joined by the women's champion from the 100-yard breaststroke. Let's send it over to them.
You took a silver medal yesterday in the 200 IM, and now you get your first gold of the competition. How does it feel?
It feels incredible, and to do it in my favorite event, the 100 breaststroke's my favorite one. It just really means the world to me.
Your time of 59.73, not only a personal best, but a school record. What did it take to get that?
Just really long, hard breaststroke sets, a lot of them, and I'm just glad that it was all worth it. So.
Nice job. We look forward to seeing you the rest of the meet.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Lincoln.
Congratulations to Peyton, the Sandy Spring, Maryland native. He's already put up some incredible times this year as a sophomore. And here in our consolation B final, Kitching will take it for SMU with that time of 55.88, followed by a Bearcat and a Husky in second and third. And soon enough, it'll give way for the men's championship. A couple of Mustangs will be in lanes 8 and 7. You see them leading the way. Cincinnati will have 2 swimmers. UConn will have a pair as well. ECU with a duo also occupying this field. So all 4 programs will have 2 men in the race for the men's 100-yard breaststroke. Mentioned East Carolina has had a swimmer win this event the last 3 years, including the last 2 years was Will Hicks. The Pirates in the pool this year will look to keep that going, a couple of youngsters. Lane 1 for UConn, Gregory Giappa, the senior. Lane 2, Joshua Parmenti, sophomore for ECU. Zachary Hustoff, the junior for the Bearcats in lane 3. Jacek Arentowicz, the freshman for ECU in lane 4 with your fastest prelim time. Dominic Poling for the Bearcats, the freshman in lane 5. The UConn Husky junior Marcus Hunter is in lane 6. In lane 7, Stefan Popov, the senior for SMU here in his home pool. And in lane 8, Aiden Lewis, a freshman teammate of his for the Mustangs. NCAA record 50 seconds with an additional 4 100s, 50.04. Our meet record is 52.74, set 4 years ago. Already a quarter of the way through. Now it's lanes 3 and lanes 4. And lane 3, again, that's Hostov, the junior for Cincinnati.
3 of these swimmers have already hit provisional times, Lincoln.
Arentowicz is in lane 4 for ECU.
And a few more are going to add to it tonight.
The finish at the wall, and the Pirates will continue their dominance in this race. Arentowicz, your newest champion, as he is flanked by a pair of Bearcats in the finish. Poling in second, and Hostoffer in third. The Pirates hoping to start closing that gap if they want a chance to four-peat with their men's program. But the Bearcats with some important points as well, with 2 of the finishes on the podium.
Just a freshman from Poland, Lincoln.
As again, Jacek there in lane 4. He would ultimately prevail by 12 100ths of a second. And it would be a total of 2/10 of a second that would separate first from third. Well, again, we'll see 2 Bearcats on the podium, but the top spot and gold belongs to the Pirates when we come back.
When learning creates leaders, ideas are ignited, focus gets sharper, and service connects generations. We commit our expertise to heal, to discover, and to drive our region forward to a brighter tomorrow. East Carolina University. Tomorrow starts here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention to the podium for the awards presentation of our men's 100-yard breaststroke. Presenting our awards, SMU's Eddie Sinnott. Your top 8. In 8th place from SMU, Aiden Lewis. In 7th place from SMU, Stefan Popov. In 6th place from UConn, Gregory Tiopa. In 5th place from ECU, Joshua Parmenter. In 4th place from UConn, Marcus Hunter. And now your top 3 gentlemen in the 100-yard breaststroke. Your bronze medalist with a finals time of 53.98, the junior from Cincinnati, Zachary Hostoffer. Your silver medalist with a finals time of 53.90, a freshman at Cincinnati, Dominic Poling. And your gold medalist in the men's 100-yard breaststroke, his finals time, a new pool record time of 53.78. A freshman from ECU, Jacek Arentnowicz.
Jacek takes his spot atop the podium between a pair of Bearcats. And again, when you're dealing with simply 100 yards, very little separates first from third. We mentioned 2/10 of a second, the difference between gold and bronze in our most recent men's race.
Yeah, it's been a tight race, and that one was really close. 53.78, that's going to be a personal best for him. He had a personal best in the prelims, and he was able to go even faster. What's interesting about him is I looked up his stats from coming in. He's a freshman from Poland. He bested his time before that was 59, and now he's at 53.78. That's a lot of time to shave off in a 100-yard.
They announced it's another pool record that falls this week here in our American meet as he dips the gold into the pool for a good measure. Well, later on tonight, we'll have the men's 3-meter diving. We'll know right now they're introducing some of those competitors that we'll see later on this evening. But you're looking here at the pool where it will be the women's 100-yard breaststroke. Of course, or pardon me, backstroke. They'll start in the water. It'll be our consolation, our B final with 8 swimmers in the pool. When we get to the championship, it'll be a familiar name in Mateja Samardzic, who will be in lane 4. Right now, again, they are recognizing our divers. We'll introduce them to you later on tonight when they take their 6 dives. And that includes your champion in the 1 meter, Bryce Klein, one of the favorites in the 3 meter as well. We saw his brother in the pool earlier tonight. Well, a moment ago, another men's champion crowned the Pirate. Let's go ahead and check in with Kristen and Jacek.
Jacek, you set your own personal best this morning in prelims, and then you just broke that. What did it take to go ahead and do that and get that gold medal?
It wasn't my best race, to be honest. I expected that I will be faster, but I made so many mistakes during the race. I am glad that I won. That's it.
So many mistakes, but you still walk away with a personal best time and a gold medal. What mistakes are there to fix and to clean up maybe for NCAAs?
First and third turn were terrible. And my stroke on the last 25 was really short, and I could done it better, really.
Faster times to come for sure. I know you're from Poland. Anybody you want to say hello to?
In Polish, hello. Dzień dobry. Witam wszystkich.
Congratulations. Enjoy this one.
Foreign language credit for everybody tuning in. As again, congratulations to Jacek, part of the youth movement in the pool. Yet another champion who says he can do better, and for the rest of us who thought we had any chance, we might as well just go back to the media room and grab another cookie.
I thought he looked good.
Yes.
That was a fast time.
Again, this is your consolation race for the women in the backstroke 100. That's 2 laps. Lauren Hensley for ECU is in lane 1. SMU represented in lane 2. Cincinnati with the swimmer in lane 3. Tulane with Golba in lane 4. Drobler, the international, in lane 5 for SMU, the freshman. Vieira, the sophomore, for Tulane in lane 6. Bruel for UConn in lane 7. Smith for SMU in lane 8. And here's the finish for your consolation 100-yard backstroke. And winner of the B final with a time of 55.61 is Golba for the Green Wave. Well, again, when we deal with 100 yards or fewer, you certainly expect a tight race. That is certainly what we plan to see in our championship here coming up for the women. Less than a second separates the 8 swimmers during the regular season entering this field. You'll have a Mustang and a Cougar in your middle 2 lanes. This one, again, should be another entertaining sprint.
Less than a second separates 8 swimmers in the American in this race, Lincoln. It's going to be a tight one.
Mateja Samardzic's your champion last year. Now, Eliana Kutsavelli won this 2 years ago. She is not in this final field. As we take you through, for the Pirates, that's your senior Logan Grauman in lane 1. For the Bearcats, another senior Lindsay Niehaus in lane 2. Paris Zhang is your Tulane swimmer, the junior in lane 3. She set the Tulane record earlier this year. We've already heard from Mateja Samardzic, the senior, looking for another title. Backstroke is what did it for her in that IM earlier today. She's in lane 4. Laura Latterout for Houston posted her PR in this event last week in Houston. Lane 6, Georgia Apostle, the freshman for UConn. Lane 7, is Catherine Gobb. She won, of course, the 50 freestyle yesterday for the Bearcats. And Courtney Barker, the freshman, your second swimmer for Tulane in the pool here in this race, over in lane 8. Mateja Samardzic from Split, Croatia. We mentioned her success in Rio back in 2016. That included in this event where she finished 13th overall. And that's her challenger, presumably. The sophomore from Houston, who's swimming about as well in this event as she has in her young career coming into this week.
About half this field is better than the pool record that was set earlier this year, so that should be shattered in this race, Lincoln.
Of course, that pool record belongs to Samardzic. She wouldn't mind keeping her name there in place, but with a new time. But at the moment in lane 2, that's Lindsay Niehaus, for the senior for the Bearcats. Samardzic in lane 4. And down the stretch, Samardzic with the edge.
She took 13 in the 2016 Rio Games in this event.
Ladder out hanging on to second, but it's Mateja Samardzic who repeats as your champion here in the 100-yard backstroke. Her time of 52.75 will shatter her pool record as well as the meet record. And she just keeps getting stronger and stronger. The senior going out in style.
Second win of the day. She's on fire. And you still have the 200 back tomorrow, Lincoln.
Again, ladder out's time for Houston. The second place finish would have been a pool record in its own right. But Mateja Samardzic came in as your champion last year with a time of 53.08. Your pool record holder as well from earlier this year. And she has updated both of those marks with her score of 52.75 here today. What a time. It was the backstroke that helped guide her to her first championship earlier today. And Mateja Samardzic, the senior, will go right back to the top of the podium.
At SMU, students and faculty work hand in hand to shape answers to real-world challenges.
Yes, there's no such thing as a lesser person.
How can we strengthen human rights around the world?
It turns out computer malware is extreme.
How do we prevent cyber terrorism?
The limb comes off.
How can the human body set new records of performance? What can presidents teach us about leadership? From the SMU campus in Dallas, we're shaping the answers that will shape the future of the world.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention to the podium for the awards presentation of our women's 100-yard backstroke event. Presenting the awards from SMU, Steve Collins. Your top 8 ladies. In 8th place from Tulane, Courtney Barker. In 7th place from ECU, Logan Grauman. In 6th place from Yukon, Georgia Apostolou. In 5th place from Cincinnati, Catherine Gobb. In fourth place from Cincinnati, Lindsay Niehaus. And now your top three ladies in the women's 100-yard backstroke. Your bronze medalist with a finals time of 54:27. The junior from Tulane, Paris Zhang. Your silver medalist, a finals time of 53:52. The sophomore at Houston, Laura Latterout. And your gold medalist going back-to-back and setting a new meet record time of 52:75. A senior at SMU, Matea Samarczyk.
Well, Matea finds herself in a familiar position representing the Mustangs, the senior who has already had success as one of the top swimmers in the world, showing off what she can do here in the American. Lincoln Rose along with Kristen Keith, and I know you're looking forward to getting a chance to talk to her again. We knew what she could do in the backstroke. That was what helped to win that IM in the 400 earlier today when she really started to pull away.
Yeah.
But she's an individual who just makes the rest of the field better, knowing that they're competing with one of the best.
Absolutely. She, as I mentioned, she was a semifinalist in Rio. She took 13th in the 100 back in that race and 15th in the 200 back, which you'll see her in tomorrow. So she's going to be the leader. She's someone to look out for in any backstroke event. She's phenomenal.
Congratulations to Houston and Tulane. Latterout, the sophomore, takes second. Paris Zhang, the junior, takes third. Zhang, the product of Sydney, Australia.
Lincoln, the Houston women have been on the podium every single event tonight. They currently lead the field 532 points. Cincinnati's in second at 389.
Well, and that's our final women's individual race on the night. We'll have our final individual men's race coming up. We'll have some relays this evening in the 400-yard medley. All the men hop in as this is your backstroke men's 100-yard back. We also have a men's 3-meter dive to be contested in a little bit. You see our participants in the pool, 2 Pirates, 2 Mustangs, and 2 Huskies. But right now, it is the second time today that Kristen has a chance to catch up with Matea.
Matea, another gold medal for you. I see you're just going to keep adding on to your collection already. You were a semifinalist in Rio, and we've been mentioning that and talking about that, but you just broke your own record there. How does it compare?
It feels great because I was always a long course swimmer more than a short course, so I'm very happy I did my best time tonight.
How do you take that experience of going to an Olympic Games like that and bring it into a college atmosphere where girls are looking up to you?
It definitely motivates me more and keeps me going. Just I kept reminding myself, like, you did so much so far, and just keep going.
Absolutely. What do you do to get ready for tomorrow's 200 back?
Well, I still have relay, and then get a good night's sleep and eat a lot.
Good deal. Good luck. Thank you.
Again, she's referring to the women's 400-yard medley relay that will help us wrap things up this evening. As you see, Stephen Chang, your top swimmer in our 6-swimmer field in the consolation race for the 100 back. Kristen, you think you'll be chatting with Matea one more time before the end of tonight?
There's a good possibility, Lincoln. There's definitely a good possibility. I didn't realize she was in the relay race. They haven't released those teams to us just yet, but obviously I can't see a reason for her not to be in it the way she's been racing today.
It'll be the medley relay. Any guess which stroke she'll be swimming?
Oh, you don't say the back. When you've placed in Olympic Games in both 100 and 200 back events, I'd say she qualifies for any medley relay.
So it is on to our final men's individual race here on day 3. The 100-yard backstroke. UConn swimmer Will Kiersey won this last year. He is back in lane 4 tonight. SMU has won this on a couple of occasions, as has Louisville in the first year.
You mentioned Kiersey. He broke his school record in both the 100 and 200 back last year, and 6 all-conference honors. He is the man to watch, just like you said.
It'll be a Pirate in lane 1, Thomas Reams, the senior. Next to him, another Pirate, the junior, Tristan Taylor in lane 2. Earl Kilbride's the junior for the home squad Mustangs here. Next to him in lane 4, your favorite and defending champ last year, Will Kersey, won it as a freshman, back as a sophomore for UConn. Ralph Koo, a sophomore for the Mustangs, will give him a challenge in lane 5. Joseph Pugleski, a sophomore for Cincinnati, in lane 6. Then you'll have Balak Alakowski in lane 7 for the Pirates, your third Pirate in this field. And your second Bearcat over in lane 8, you have Oland, as Robert Oland, the freshman for Cincinnati. An extended look there at the sophomore Kersey as they all hop in for the backstroke start. 2 laps for the 100. Kersey already with NCAA cut times during the regular season for both the 100 and the 200 back. All eyes of UConn on lane 4. Right now, Kilbride, or pardon me, Koo for SMU in lane 5. And Kersey in lane 4. Out to a nice start. 75 yards complete for the leaders. Here's your final 25. Kersey and Koo. It'll be Kersey back-to-back championships for the UConn Husky. Ralph Koo in second, and SMU will take bronze as well with Earl Kilbride. The time of 48:01 will help Kersey repeat. Earlier today, he swam a 47:91, even better. But able to do enough to hold on in this 8-swimmer field. We'll note that 48:01, a pool record in this new venue. All attention on those middle 2 lanes throughout these 100 yards. It was just a question, would it be Ralph Koo for SMU, the sophomore, or the sophomore who won it last year as a freshman, Will Kersey. Kersey with just enough takes it with a time of 48:01. He'll be on the podium when we return to Dallas here on the American Digital Network. It's day 3 of the American Swimming and Diving Championships.
This is a classroom.
This is a lab.
This is a study break.
This is family.
This is home.
This is UConn.
7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 21 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American.
Mercy, lock go, she go, wherever I go, wherever we go, we do it pronto. It's like yo chick, she so yo chick, she so
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention to the podium for the awards presentation for our men's 100-yard backstroke event. Presenting our awards from Tulane, Katie Robinson. Your top 8 gentlemen in 8th place. From ECU, Bolek DePaulikowski. In 7th place from ECU, Thomas Reams. In 6th place from Cincinnati, Robert Olin. In 5th place from ECU, Tristan Taylor. In 4th place from Cincinnati, Joseph Puglisi. And now your top 3 gentlemen in the 100-yard backstroke. Your bronze medalist with a finals time of 49.10, a junior from SMU, Trey Kilbride. Your silver medalist with a finals time of 48.22, a sophomore at SMU, Ralph Koo. And your gold medalist with a finals time of 48.01, going back-to-back as a titleist in a 100-yard backstroke, a sophomore from UConn, William Kersey.
I knew that.
Huskies atop the podium for the final individual race that the men will swim today for that 100-yard backstroke performance. Kersey just a sophomore, but he has already tasted gold now twice in his career in that event, as he's flanked by a pair of Mustangs. In Lincoln Rose, Chris and Keith. And Chris, I know you're quickly trying to add all the points in your head for both the men and women, trying to figure out what the race is looking like. A reminder, 20 points for a win in an individual race. It's those relays, which we'll see later on tonight, that carry twice the weight.
Yep, 40 points for a relay, and Will Kersey should be leading off Connecticut in the 400-yard medley relay just after the diving, and we'll see him start things off. They are the best team coming in on the men's side for that race, so that's a good opportunity for them to earn some points and hopefully a gold medal. But on the men's side, Cincinnati still leads. They've got 517 points, and then in second place it's ECU with 471, and SMU in third place with 402. And on the women's side, Houston is over 100 and I think 40 or 150 points above the field.
Well, for the first and final time today, let's shift our focus to the men. Over on the diving board on the 3-meter dive, that was Tori Wagner to get us started, the freshman from UConn. First of 6 dives coming up. Our next diver is Isaac Karn, a sophomore from Cincinnati. Second in this 8-man rotation. Karn receiving 3 5.5s, a 6 and a 5. Devin Nugent's a freshman for ECU. Devin receiving 6.5s across the way, except for 1 6. We'll get the scores up here in a moment. Just working on one technical issue. Louis Hunt is your fourth diver. One of 3 Bearcats here. Hunt, the junior for Cincinnati. Right now, Isaac Karn, the second diver, is your leader with a 49.50. And Louis Hunt completes his first dive from 3 meters. A 46.20 will be the result of 3 5.5s, a 5 and a 6. And this is our first of 6 rounds of dives for the men on the 3 meter. Saw the women on the 3 meter board back on Wednesday on day 1. Mitchell Godar, the senior, older teammate of Louis Hunt, who just went. Godar will go 5th in each round. Five and a halfs across, with the exception of 1.5, gives him a 44.5. Everybody right now still chasing Isaac Karn. First dive for Matthew Mullen tonight, the senior for the Pirates. He'll receive a pair of 4.5s and 3 5.5s for a first round score of 37.20. Here's Daniel Kinney, the senior for UConn, the 7th man in this 8-man rotation. Still in round 1. And with that dive, he will take over the advantage in round 1, a 55.80. All 6s except for 1 5.5.
But here comes Bryce Klein, who holds the conference record as well as this meet record. And he's your leader by over 60 points in the preliminaries.
Bryce is your 2-time defending champion. One is a sophomore and last year as a junior. Only Mustangs have ever won this event. Devin Burnett won it the first 2 years. And of course, Klein, we saw on Wednesday, win the 1 meter. And with that, he closes out the first round. See if he can wrestle the lead away from Daniel Kinney. He does. A 64.50 with 2 7s, a pair of 7.5s, and a 6. So the first round complete. Bryce Klein in first, Daniel Kinney in second. Isaac Karn, your 3rd best diver. Still very early. Second dive for the freshman, Tori Wagner of UConn. A pair of 4.5s and a trio of 4s.
Just didn't kick out hard enough, and he fell over, and you saw the splash on that entry.
Isaac Karn, the only sophomore in this field for the Bearcats. He was your leader up until the final 2 divers in the first round.
Great top, Lincoln, but again, didn't kick out quite hard enough. Came out a little late, fell over. You'll see it on the entry. A little late right there.
He briefly will take the advantage once again. And again, what you're looking at in the top left of your screen, not just the diver, but the dive they will attempt next to your dive number there. You don't need to memorize the number. They spell it out for you. But they don't always do it. But the lead diver, again, right now, you have the number 2 over there. That means Isaac Karn has the advantage.
I'll tell you a quick story about that, Lincoln. The first time I ever dove, I couldn't memorize the numbers. I had no idea what they meant. You know, my coach, I just knew, okay, go do this dive. So I go out and they put up the number and that's it. I do a dive. I did great. I felt so proud of myself. Looked over at my coach and he said, "Are you kidding me? What is wrong with you?" And I see my scores all zeros. I did the wrong dive.
Once you commit to something, you're expected to perform that dive. You see the DD of 3.0, that's degree of difficulty.
Good full out. Came out clean, just not quite vertical on that entry.
It's enough to have Louis Hunt out in front at the moment. We are just midway through our second round. Here's Mitchell Godar, his teammate, the senior. And a back 2.5 somersault pike. Another degree of difficulty of a 3. And again, slightly over on his second dive.
Should come out just a little bit earlier.
Matthew Mullen, our 6th diver, one of our 4 seniors. All 4 your second half of this round.
Again, and you see it a lot in the men's competition because they're going for such advantageous dives. A 3.5, he threw very hard, but just didn't kick out quite early enough or quite hard enough to stop himself from going slightly over.
Daniel Kinney's in second after that first round.
Solid.
And he is again your lead diver with 1 diver to go here in round 2. Bryce Klein took that advantage away from Kinney in round 1. He'll try to do it again here in the second frame.
3.0 degree of difficulty. You see the kinesio tape there. He does have a torn labrum in his right shoulder that he's been dealing with all season long. He will have surgery eventually after NCs.
And again, you see he needs a 45-30 to overtake Daniel Kinney. And with the struggles there, will not do so. Kinney is now your leader after 2 rounds.
You can see the frustration.
Again, back to the freshman from UConn, Tori Wagner, to get us started with round 3.
Very clean dive. Not the height that you want to see on the top or even in the hurdle, but he was able to really get his tuck in tight. Feet are pointed, good kick out, clean on the entry.
And that will briefly have the freshman now, Tori Wagner, out in front. Here's Isaac Karn, who has also seen time as a leader here.
Pushed himself a little bit too far away from the board. That's why he came up short on that entry. He knows it.
Still enough at the moment to put him in the driver's seat early here in round 3. Again, Devin Nugent is our 3rd diver in this 8-man rotation, the freshman for ECU.
A little wild there.
That'll keep Isaac Karn in first for now.
He had quite the height on that. I think I remember him in the 1-meter competition as well. He gets really good height on his dive. Just needs to work on that entry a bit.
And back to Louis Hunt, the junior from Cincinnati. Just needs a 36-40 to take over the top spot.
Very controlled.
Should easily have that here. And that makes him your lead diver midway through the 3rd round.
Again, it's always a decision for men. He can probably do a good 3.5 tuck, but he can do that 2.5 pike with a lower degree of difficulty, cleaner, so he'll get more points that way. You'll see that often.
Again, Mitchell Godar, the first of our 4 seniors to close out the round.
Again, nice dive. Mitchell Godar comes in with a top mark of 351.90. If he could do that today, that would get him the competition. But currently it looks like Louis Hunt is still in the lead.
Matthew Mullen for ECU.
This is a difficult dive.
Again, he is trying to reclaim that lead through 3 rounds.
Yeah, 2.5 forward somersault with 2 twists. Wow, very well executed.
And with that, no surprise, Daniel Kinney has earned himself the top spot once again here in this current pursuit. He's halfway through his 6 dives. And he is likely to hang on to it, as Bryce Klein would need a 62.40, you see. Again, points to overtake.
Very nice, Lincoln.
A great finish all around for round 3.
He ripped that. You can hear it. If you've been in the diving world, when there's a certain sound that it makes when you enter that water, it's kind of like a clap. You'll
Bryce,
see it.
Forgive me for questioning your ability to take over the lead in round 3. What a dive.
He heard you.
He is your leader now, halfway through, as he'll have a chance to look there on the replay monitor. And now, the 4th dive for Tori Wagner of UConn.
Bryce Klein is the comeback kid after we saw him on 1 meter. Had a 2-point deduction because he balked, but was able to finish the competition and earn himself yet another gold medal in the 1 meter.
Isaac Karn.
Oh, way over. You know, sometimes in a new pool, especially one like this, the wall that they're going to be looking at that's directly straight to them is a completely white wall. And it's hard to spot sometimes where the water is and the wall is. You've got to pick a point, especially in those reverses, of where to look at so you know where to spot, when to come out of your dive. You've seen several divers have a little bit of trouble coming out late tonight.
Let's see how Devin Nugent can fare this time for the Pirates. Again, Louis Hunt, our 4th diver in this rotation, about to attempt his 4th dive.
I presume he will take the lead with this dive. Inward 2.5 tuck. Watched him do it in warm-ups. He nailed it every time. Not a perfect entry, but a solid dive.
Judges agree, and that has Louis out in front.
Watch how well he throws. Look how close he is to this board, but that's the perfect distance right there.
See how Mitchell Godar can fare on his 4th dive.
Forward 3.5 pike. This is a difficult dive. And he made it look easy.
See how he's rewarded.
He put his head down right there, and that prevented him from getting a little bit more height and a little more speed that we're used to seeing his rotation on. But overall, a good dive.
Louis Hunt, still your leader. Matthew Mullen completing his 4th dive. On behalf of ECU. Daniel Kinney's had such a strong showing, it would take little for him to reclaim the advantage here. It's more about trying to raise the bar for Bryce Klein, who's on deck.
That was a great top. Just misses the bottom again, but that was a phenomenal top. You watch his hurdle, high hurdle. He was right on the perfect spot of the board. Reached really well right here. Just needs to come out, and he comes out plenty early. But he didn't kick out hard enough, so his rotation continued to go over.
It does put Kinney on top, but a lower bar for Bryce Klein from his last dive when he needed to exceed 60 points. Would only need a 37 flat to reclaim the advantage, and he's got his sights set a little higher than that.
Forward 3.5 pike. Very nice. I can only imagine how much that hurts his shoulder, because on dives like that, especially a 3.5 from a 3 meter, you've got to throw very hard with your arms, with your shoulders. Great dive.
2/3 of the way through now our 3 meter men's championship. And it's a familiar name, your back-to-back champion, Bryce Klein, in the lead. Back to Tori Wagner here for round 5.
Not quite square on the entry. We'll see how much they deduct for that. A good amount. You don't get extra points for doing an extra quarter, unfortunately.
Isaac Karn trying to stay in the hunt.
Nice reversing twister, the first we've seen of this competition.
As he'll get ready for his final dive here tonight. Devin Nugent still in contention. And Nugent now 5 dives in. See if Louis Hunt can taste the lead one more time.
He has the chance if he nails this. Should be close. Just under 2 points away from the lead.
So that means he will still have some optimism going into his final dive. Here's Godar.
Beautiful. Very clean, well executed.
And that is going to put Mitchell in the lead. With 1 dive to go.
It's always interesting to see how divers choose the order that they want to dive in. Looked like Mitchell Godar saving his best for last. It'll be interesting to see what his 6th and final dive is.
Again, he's the first of 4 seniors to close out this 5th round. Here's Matthew Mullen for ECU.
Great entry.
Mullen just trying to stay within striking range.
Little bit pushed too far away from the board, but his entry was clean.
We anticipate Kenny with a modest dive here would be able to take the lead.
Back 2.5 pike, not so modest, and the score should show that. 52 points.
Easily.
Very good for Daniel Kinney.
And that keeps the pressure on Bryce Klein.
Oh, wow. This is going to be the most difficult dive we've seen all meet long. You reverse 1.5 with 3.5 twists. If you can wrap your head around that, Lincoln. .5 degree of difficulty. My goodness.
Well-deserved lead with one dive to go for our 8 competitors. And your back-to-back defending champ putting on a show.
Wow. That was gorgeous.
Last dive for Tori Wagner, the freshman, in his first American meet.
Great rotation on his twist. Not quite where he wants to be on the entry.
So Wagner's 6 dives complete. Here's Isaac Karn for Cincinnati.
Not quite square on that entry, but it was clean.
Our only remaining freshman is Devin Nugent for the Pirates, as here's his last time off the plank.
I see what you did there. Oh, that was gorgeous.
A nice way to go out for Nugent. Final dive for Louis Hunt for Cincinnati.
Got himself too far back on the springboard in his hurdle. See how far back he is? He has to push himself out. Changes his timing in the rotation. Doesn't come out on time, unfortunately. Has that big splash.
We are halfway through the final round, and that means it's time for Mitchell Godar, senior for Cincinnati.
This will be another very difficult dive. 3.5 degree of difficulty. Reverse 3.5. A little late on the entry there when he came out. You see the splash, but that's still a solid dive, and you can see 50 points, 50-75.
A nice evening for the senior.
Just a little late on that kick out. He kicks out split second sooner. He's going to get 7s on that dive. It's close. Save it for zones.
Oh, Matthew Mullen just looking for a strong finish.
Great rip. That's 7.
And that's a nice way to go out. So it's going to come down to our final 2 divers. Here's Daniel Kinney. Last man with a chance to strip it away from Bryce Klein.
That should put him in the lead. We'll see by how much.
It was a low bar to take that lead. Nice marks on his final dive.
Great dive to save for your last. But Bryce only needs 17 points.
Bryce Klein just needs to avoid the belly flop here.
Just do the right dive. Don't do what I did.
Yeah.
Just make sure you do the right dive.
And And you are looking at a 3-time champion in the American off the 3-meter boards. Already his 2nd title this week for Bryce Klein. What a way to go out.
Phenomenal performance from him, especially with that torn labrum. What a way to go out.
So Bryce Klein, sophomore, junior, now as a senior, your champion in the American off 3 meters. It'll be a slightly shorter climb to the top of the podium when we come back here on the American Digital Network.
Power comes in all forms. Power is a big tackle,
a big save,
a clutch hit,
and a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
Power is respecting an opponent, officials, student athletes, coaches, and team representatives.
Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions
while at the game.
The American.
Power.
Power. Power.
Power for life.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention to the podium for the awards presentation of the men's 3-meter diving. Presenting our awards from SMU, Darian Schmidt. Your top 8, the men's 3-meter springboard. In 8th place, from UConn, Tori Wagner. In 7th place, from Cincinnati, Isaac Karn. In 6th place, from ECU, Devin Nugent. In 5th place, from Cincinnati, Louis Hunt. In 4th place, from ECU, Matthew Mullen. And now your top 3 gentlemen in the 3-meter springboard. Your bronze medalist with a final score 287.3, the senior from Cincinnati, Mitchell Goddard. Your silver medalist with a final score of 314.5, a senior from Connecticut, Daniel Kinney. And your gold medalist with a final score of 370.90 for the third straight time, a senior from SMU, Bryce Klein.
And Bryce joins Jonathan Gomez as SMU individual champions here today. That'll be a nice shot in the arm here on day 3 at home. And congratulations, his second diving championship this week, his third in that event now over his 4-year career. Lincoln Rose, Chris and Keith. Kristen, you were talking about during the break, without even seeing the performers, you can look at that list, a nice aggressive list for Bryce Klein, and he's able to execute.
His degree of difficulty was by far superior over anybody else in the field. Looking at that only, I knew how solid of a diver he had the potential to be. Despite the injury, he was able to come through. His last dive, a degree of difficulty, I think, of 3.2, and he was able to get 7, 7.5, 7.5, 7. It's an unbelievable dive.
Take a look at some of the dives that stood out there in that round as Godart would finish third.
And that was an impressive one. That back reverse 3.5. That's an elite level dive.
And these final dives now coming up again, your champion, Bryce Klein.
But consistently, it's not 1 or 2 dives of his list that are hard dives. It's majority of his list. 4 of the 6.
So the secret is Terrier labrum, then go out there and win a couple of championships.
Hopefully he can hang on and keep that ligament intact for zones.
Well, this is the final women's event on day number 3. You double the points, 40 on the line. It is the 400-yard medley relay. All 6 programs competing in the pool. Remember, the ECU women and men were able to sweep some relay points yesterday. Today, your favorites for the women are Houston in lane 4, SMU in lane 5. Some familiar names are headlining the way. Of course, we'll see Matea Samardzic lead the way, as with the medley, you have to start with the backstroke due to logistics of getting into the pool. So 6 of the 8 lanes will be occupied. ECU in lane 2, Tulane in lane 3. Houston will have the coveted lane number 4 position. And of course, Serena Brown will be your anchor. SMU in lane 5. Lane 6 with Cincinnati, lane 7, UConn. So again, we begin with backstroke for ECU. That means Logan Grauman, Paris Zhang for Tulane, Laura Lauderout for Houston, Matea Samardzic, again, the standout for SMU. Cincinnati has Lindsay Niehaus with backstroke, Georgia Apostolou for UConn with the backstroke, the freshman. 2 laps of each, add it all up, and it's the 400-yard medley. Again, the backstroke is where SMU's Samardzic would be expected to shine. Hanging in there with her is Lauderout for Houston. And this will do it for backstroke, the final length of the pool. And there you see the advantage that Samardzic has built up. SMU's Podmanikova will be the first in the pool. A decisive advantage then followed by Houston's Peyton Condis. As breaststroke, our second stroke now here in the 400-yard medley relay. Catherine McDonald in for Tulane, Vendela Norman for ECU, Kennedy Herbert for Cincinnati, and Julie Hu for UConn. Rounding out this 6-swimmer field right now with the breaststroke. But it is still SMU. Samardzic got it started with the backstroke. Now Podmanikova, who showed up, joined the team in January. And that has paid almost immediate dividends. Butterfly up next. SMU and Houston have maintained their advantage. For the Mustangs, it's Erin Traha. For the Cougars, Victoria Tillman. ECU has Lieslott Benton, Caitlin Simpson for Tulane, Simone Palomo for the Bearcats, and Megan Windman for UConn.
Erin Traha in lane 5 already won in the 100 fly earlier today. Victoria Tillman taking second. You'll see she's right behind her.
SMU leads by a little over 0.7 of a second.
Battling it out. Exact same thing that we saw earlier today in the 100 fly.
Traha trying to maintain that lead for Felicity Passon, the freshman who will be your anchor in freestyle. And of course, it'll be Zarina Brown for Houston waiting her chance to get into the pool. Zarina Brown at a disadvantage here following the freshman Passon. Can Brown close that gap?
Let's see how bad she wants to talk to me, Lincoln.
Final lap. Zelnick in for Tulane, Angermeyer for ECU, Cobb in for Cincinnati, Manning for Connecticut. But right now it's Brown and Passon. Final length of the pool. Passon hanging on.
Oh my goodness.
Zarina Brown making a push. Neck and neck.
Unbelievable.
Zarina Brown completes the comeback by 4/100ths of a second. Able to out-touch the freshman Passon.
Look at that reaction.
Just an incredible athlete in a field of so much talent. And for Houston, 40 more points into the Cougar column.
And that'll be a program record, Lincoln. No surprises there.
Ladder out Condis, Tillman, and Brown, your winning combo for Houston. Your champions in the 400-yard medley relay.
SMU had it for 4 years straight. Houston finally took this one away.
And Cougars become just the second ever program to win this event. They had the best time during the regular season. And they easily shattered that time. They led the American this year with a 3:39.94. They produce a 3:35.48. A new pool record here in Dallas. A little bittersweet as the Mustangs concede that pool record to the Cougars. And there has been no shortage of celebrations for the Cougars tonight, and a big part of that, Zarina Brown, who had to overcome a deficit on the freestyle. And who are we to doubt her?
I didn't doubt her for 1 second. After talking to her earlier today, you knew she had it in her. It was just, would the performance come up at the right time? And it did.
It's going to lead to our final event of day 3. The men will look to try to echo the same excitement we just saw for the women in the 400-yard medley relay. It's Houston in first, SMU with the silver, and Tulane will finish with the bronze. That's a Tulane program that just continues to exceed the bar placed by previous swimmers for the green wave. But they look on as Houston and SMU take the top 2 spots. You keep winning, you get to slowly figure out where the cameras are.
And you know, Lincoln, that entire team, that entire relay team for Houston will be returning. All of them, underclassmen.
Game faces are on. This is your final event of the night. Only half the pool will be occupied with the 4 programs on the men's side. UConn comes in as your favorite in lane 4. ECU, your 3-time defending champs overall in men's swimming, in lane 5. Cincinnati will find itself in lane 6, SMU in lane 3. UConn has been about 5 seconds better than the rest of the field coming into this week.
And it will be led by Will Kersey, who we just saw not long ago in the 100 back.
Ralph Koo will get things started for SMU with the backstroke. Stefan Popov, Simon Golchik, and Nicholas Batsky, the senior, will close things out for the Mustangs. But again, we'll start with the backstroke, followed by the breast, butterfly, then freestyle for the finish. Koo in for SMU, Kersey in for UConn, Tristan Taylor, the backstroke for ECU, and Dominic Poling for the Bearcats. First of 2 laps of backstroke underway. And just an excellent turn by Kersey for UConn. Catches up to Koo in a hurry. We're halfway through the backstroke. Right now, Kersey and Koo in lanes 4 and 3, a pair of sophomores. And Kersey continues to build on his advantage with those turns. Next man in for UConn will be Marcus Hunter with the breaststroke. SMU brings in Stefan Popov. Jacek Arentowicz for ECU and Zachary Hostoffer for Cincinnati.
Marcus Hunter for UConn, a junior out of South Africa.
And UConn, remember, 5 seconds better than the field this year. Let's see if they're able to keep pulling away. Hunter now 3/4 complete with his responsibilities. His final length of the pool. It'll give way to David May of freshmen. It's going to be 2 freshmen for UConn to close this out. May in charge of the butterfly. For SMU, Simon Golchik for the fly, Gustavo Santos for ECU, and for Cincinnati, William Sigala. May is maintaining the advantage. His final lap of fly.
Just a freshman for the Huskies. 8-time All-State from Connecticut. Hometown bred.
Getting ready for freestyle. May will pass the proverbial baton to a fellow freshman, Kyle Dunlap. Batsky, the senior for SMU. Victor Martins dos Santos for ECU follow. And Hans Kabelka, the last man in, the freshman for Cincinnati. Final lap of free. And it'll be Dunlap and Bansky battling at this turn. Kyle Dunlap looking to close it out for UConn to close out day 3. The Huskies are your champions here in the 400-yard medley relay. Followed by the Pirates in second, Mustangs in third. It all started with Will Kersey with the backstroke, really on his turns, able to start gaining an advantage for UConn. Marcus Hunter, the elder statesman of the relay, just a junior, kept it going through the breaststroke, and then a pair of freshmen were entrusted with the lead, David May and Kyle Dunlap, able to close it out. As a final look here, your final race of the night, the men's 400-yard medley relay. What a showing for UConn, and these were points they were expecting to claim. You can never take it for granted in these hotly contested relays, but UConn able to come through for the 40 points. Here's the freestyle push. Kyle Dunlap able to close it out. And that is how you want to finish going into the final day tomorrow here in the American Championships.
When do you think they had it in that race, Lincoln? I mean, they held on the whole time.
Will Kersey's first turn.
Yeah, I mean, that really did it. It gave them a nice lead. It's got to feel comfortable with any of the other guys going into the water when you have Will Kersey leading you off like that.
So the Houston women finished day 3 with the victory in the 400-yard medley relay. UConn men do the same, as each time lane 4 and the favorites able to prevail. Both are about to be recognized on the podium. It was a day that got started with the 400-yard IM. Mateus Samardzic with the first of a couple of championships. That was followed by Jonathan Gomez for SMU. A great start for the Mustangs today. Much needed points. That would include Aaron Trahan, that 100 fly. With Gustavo Santos, the first championship on the day for ECU. We saw the points spread out pretty well among the programs here today. And that, can't believe it, we're already 75% of the way through this 4-day event in Dallas, looking to crown your overall champions tomorrow. Can ECU mount a comeback, or has Cincinnati already done enough to lock up the 2018 men's side of thing? Houston, a phenomenal third day. SMU was strong showing as well.
Absolutely. Now, on the men's side, that's where the battle is. It's going to be between Cincinnati and ECU. ECU just 67 points behind Cincinnati going into the relay there. You know, they're obviously not going to make up that big of a difference, but tomorrow, a full day ahead. So we'll see if the Pirates can pull it off or not, or if Cincinnati's going to take home, become a new champion and you know, take over the reins. ECU's had it for a while.
They are all going to sleep well tonight. Of course, we're going to let them swim a couple dozen cool-down laps before they leave the facility this evening.
They'll be here another hour and a half.
While the rest of us graze on the leftover refreshments. As Cincinnati, again, right now, your leaders on the men's side. Houston came in looking to repeat on the women's side. Cougars and Mustangs with a nice showing.
But Houston is well head and shoulders above the field right now. Going into that relay, they led with 532 points, and Cincinnati on the women's side were below them at 389. That's a large difference.
We'll take our final break of the evening here on the American Digital Network. When we come back, we have those 2 relay gold medals to be handed out to the Houston Cougar women, as well as the men of UConn.
This is a classroom.
This is a lab.
This is a study break.
This is family.
This is home.
This is UConn.
Yeah, they're postponing the awards until tomorrow for the video reviews. I think he already made the announcement. Well, before we say farewell this evening, another championship interview, and it's Bryce Klein with his second championship of the week, the 3rd time that he takes the title in the 3 meters as he joins Kristen.
As you mentioned, Bryce, you continue to add to your trophy here. Another gold medal for you, an outstanding night on 3 meter. What was working so well?
Well, me and Darian had a game plan, and we executed on it, and it's all based on the preparation we did beforehand. So it felt good to follow the plan and have it work out, and having my teammates there to support me. I mean, it's everything, you know. That's why I chose the school, because the culture and the team and the coaches and all of that was present today, and it was just a reminder of, you know, that I made the right choice. You know, I've had 4 incredible conferences where I've had this feeling, and I'm so blessed.
What was the game plan for today and moving forward into NCAA zones?
Well, it's one dive at a time. It's take every dive and technically think about what it needs to be the main focus on it. And if you blow a dive like I did in the 2nd round, you got to come back and you got to respond. And you can't respond by thinking about, I got to hit all 4 dives. You got to say, next is gainer. I know what I need to do. We've prepared, and let's execute on the plan. And we did, and it set me right up for the next 3 dives.
What do you tell yourself after, like you said, a bomb like that on the 2nd dive? How do you reset mentally and have a short-term memory and move on to the next one?
Well, I have to just take a look at my body of work so far in the sport and say, you know, I've been in this situation literally before. So I responded then, and I can respond now. You know, and you look back at all the years of big meets and big lights and all of these high-pressure situations and say, you know what, I'm prepared for this, and you got to trust it.
I know you have a torn labrum. You're fighting through that, but you're qualified for NCAA zones. What's the plan of action moving forward for that?
Plan of action is be aggressive, follow the game plan, and make NCs. You know, that's the plan.
Same list that we saw today?
Yep, same list. We'll be ready to execute, and, you know, torn labrum or not, you know, I know that I'm capable of doing what we've planned and executed on before, so I'm ready to go.
You've had an outstanding career as well as a senior season. Congratulations yet again, Bryce Klein.
Thank you very much. Pony up.
Again, you heard Bryce say we. You heard him reference Darian. Darian Schmidt is his head diving coach at SMU. And, well, that was quite the recruiting pitch he was able to put on. As the senior knows, he is headed out the door, but trying to blaze a path for future Mustang divers as well. Well, we do want to update you. No medal ceremonies for the 2 relays that we just witnessed. Both are under review. The ceremonies will take place tomorrow when they do confirm the outcomes of both of those. But for now, your initial indications were victories for Houston by a hair, as well as UConn to close things out. Beyond that, 3 days in the books, one more to go. A lot of championship caliber swimming and diving when we come back tomorrow, 6 o'clock Central Time here on the American Digital Network.
It's excited to see the sprints tomorrow, but we start off the day with the 1650, so that'll be interesting. Get that one out of the way and get some of those sprints undertaking, and we'll also see the platform competition, one of my favorites. So looking forward to a final day of championship tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a completely different beast when you're essentially swimming a mile in the pool, as we'll see tomorrow. But a great day of swimming in the pool today with one diving event mixed in as well. SMU with early results on the podium as just a brilliant third day all around. You saw Mateus Samardzic in the 400 IM for the women. For the men then, it was another Mustang and Jonathan Gomez. He would be the first of a couple of SMU individuals to claim gold on the platform, or I should say on the podium. The women's 100 fly would go to Erin Traha, the sophomore for SMU. Next gold medal for the men would be the 100-yard fly. Gustavo Santos, just a sophomore. It is so encouraging, all the young talent we have seen this week in the American on display, able to perform at such high levels, representing their institutions, in that case for ECU. And we would close things out with the 200 free. Of course, that meant another look at Serena Brown, as well as Hans Kapelka for Cincinnati, a freshman. Peyton Condis, the sophomore for Houston, would take the 100 breaststroke. Jacek Arentowicz, the freshman for ECU, would do the same for the men. Then we would finally head up to the diving board. We just heard from Bryce Klein, your champion, and then smiles all around on the relays as well. There's a fantastic third day here in Dallas. Big thanks to our entire Adian crew. For Kristen Keith, I'm Lincoln Rose. We'll do it one more time tomorrow, 6 o'clock here in Big D, with the overall team championships on the line.